Democrats, I'm about to save your party. It is worth listening. Who am I? Mark Stewart Greenstein, longtime Democrat. IED, though, increasingly embarrassed Democrat, because Democrat leaders, anyway, show an awful lot of thoughtlessness. Leaders, not rank and file voters. You tend to be the wise ones. But let me give you a disaster that's looming among the supposedly thoughtful decisions by many governors, mostly Democrat, some Republican, about how we're going to reopen. By making any law or even any government guideline, you are heading for lawsuits up the wazoo. Take schools, for example. If your state is setting out guidelines that schools will follow, your state is subjecting those school districts to suit. Maybe not itself, because states can't be successfully sued, but municipalities can, and they could go bankrupt with real and not so real suits for sick kids who obtained that illness while in school, or maybe not while in school, because it's hard to tell, isn't it? So somebody who might not even have COVID, but is hospitalized for some rheumatoid anything that gets classified as COVID. Now, because the state gave guidelines, and those guidelines still caused illness, the very likely charge of an army of lawyers is class action suit against all these state health officials, maybe the state governor, him or herself. Stay away. Let schools open on their terms. Give no guidelines. And not that that is chicken. It is wise, because schools can evaluate far better than a single state bureaucracy, even armed with more medical knowledge, maybe the latest findings. The state can't apply that across urban and rural and suburban. It can't apply it across large schools, densely packed schools, small schools, older kids, younger kids. Because the state is a bludgeon, it can't possibly make the best rules. Let the schools at most make those rules. And I actually would suggest to the schools themselves to say, we don't have rules. Go back to the old way and join us if you feel safe. Sign a waiver so that we're not liable for educating your child. Stay home if you don't feel safe. How simple is that? No liability. You don't want this fall to have a bunch of plaintiffs who said, well, I wore a mask, even the scary one that you wanted me to, and my child still got sick. And they might be right that what you said was permissible turned out to be not so good. We've had plenty of caviling by different government agencies across the country. It could happen again. Reliance on certain guidance is never going to be foolproof. But what is certain is that armies of lawyers are available where there's deep pockets. Municipalities, for now, have them. So you're almost begging to be bankrupted. And when that happens, there'll still be some people, actually needy people, who can't get any compensation. The funds ran out. That's not good governance. Good governance is letting people decide for themselves. They're almost certainly wiser, and you put the liability where it should be. Back off, and you have better schooling. Back off, and you have happier parents. Back off, and you might actually have a healthier regime to start with. I'm Mark Stewart Greenstein. I implore some districts to follow this route and not follow state guidance.